I am taking a shit. I was pooping on my phone.
David Rubin takes a dump on his Android and more on the next CC Report.
Creationist Cat. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone right now. Truly, I really do. I mean, first off, you're hosting my show.
Well, Dave, this isn't the first time I've hosted. I did moderate the Blair White Red Pill Black debate.
Made a girl cry in a live stream with a bunch of just like 5 YouTubers.
Guys! I just wanted to say, keep arguing. This is awesome.
But
But anyhow, Dave, I'd like to welcome our very special guest. He's everybody's favorite transphobic garden gnome who thinks Arabs like to live in open sewage, and he's also considered the cool kids philosopher, probably because he's just about their height. Ben Shapiro!
Great to be here.
Well, Ben, I'd just like to congratulate you on your first foray into the world of porn. It looks, terrifying, but it's about time. Everybody in the intellectual dark web seems to be doing it these days. Sam Harris, of course. Jordan Peterson. And you know, interesting thing about this photo is you could just about fit one Ben Shapiro between the three of you.
No, you're right on the money.
See, Dave, I told you those proportions were correct.
I've always believed it, but I really, really believe it now.
Okay, so Dave, recently you tweeted that you like the new term reactionary right, and that being reactionary is good. Now, the term reactionary right has actually been around since 1799, which I suppose is new if you're the Horsehead Nebula, but it's generally accepted to mean far right, which you also seem to object to in the exact same tweet. Plus, you say you're reactionary about freedom. Well, historically, reactionary political ideologies yearn for an extreme return to old society status quos. So if you're truly reactionary about freedom, that would mean you want to return to slavery. Right, Ben Shapiro?
Yeah.
Now, it might just be a coincidence, but soon after your tweet, Kanye West tweeted that we need to abolish the 13th Amendment, which would legalize slavery.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Do you feel that I'm do you feel that I'm being free and I'm thinking free?
So I may be wrong here, but I think the two might be connected. But, David, finally, one more thing. I'm confused here because you essentially call yourself far right by identifying as reactionary, but last year you threatened to sue Mother Jones for libel for calling you far right. Can you shed some light on what's going on here?
I genuinely, I have no idea what's going on in the world.
Okay, fair enough. But look, apparently you have a political science degree from Binghamton.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a little weird because, you used to call yourself a liberal, claiming, in fact, that you were the last liberal, like in this horribly shaded artwork that makes you look like Two-Face.
Yeah.
And then you had this period where various right-wingers treated you kind of like their bitch because you were supposedly a liberal and you just back up all their points and make them look good.
I want you to continue to say you're a liberal because you're of great use.
So what you're basically telling me is that the left is either fucking insane or doesn't give a shit.
Thanks for that, by the way. I really appreciate you cucking yourself like that. But then you started calling yourself a classical liberal, which was awesome, because you confused the hell out of everybody, making people think that things like evading discrimination laws was a traditional liberal American value.
I'm a married gay man, so you might think that I appreciate the government forcing a Christian baker or photographer or florist to act against their religion in order to cater, photograph, or decorate my wedding. But you'd be wrong.
And there's definitely no solid argument against that.
But here's the argument. So should they be able to deny making a cake for a black couple if they don't like black people?
Allowed to? Probably. That doesn't mean it's right.
Okay, so then we had the civil rights movement.
Yep.
And it did make our society better, but would you argue that that still wasn't right?
No, that was right. Maybe it's not different. Yeah. Maybe I was wrong about that.
All right. Meanwhile, all sorts of people are claiming you're still traditionally liberal.
He's a gay, pro-choice, anti-death penalty liberal.
And all this time you're doing another freaking awesome thing by dragging totally batshit crazy right-wingers into what you call the new center?
It's like you and me, our whole fucking lives. We're going to be like, in 10 years, we'll be fighting the right again. And then in another 10 years, we'll be fighting the left again.
Yeah, so that center So where do you actually consider yourself politically? I think I have a good sense, and one of the things we've been talking about here is sort of this new growing center. So 5 years ago, where liberals and conservatives were just fighting about everything, now actually there's a new center developing, and I think both of us are sort of in that. The brain of a 25-year-old black man and the brain of a 25-year-old white man, what is it that they're doing that...
Different sizes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kudos on posing absolutely no pushback whatsoever on that one, Dave.
Yeah, all right, well, thank you.
Oh, no, it's cool, bro. But I just want to thank you for exploiting the confusion between American liberalism and libertarianism, because it just kicks the shit out of the Overton window way over to the right. I do wish, however, you hadn't let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, by revealing to Shapiro here that you were pretty much right-wing all along.
So I came from the progressive world. I now view being progressive basically as a mental disorder or something. But I consider myself classic liberal, which really is conservative in a lot of respects.
It's libertarian, essentially.
Yeah, it's technically defined as conservative or libertarian. So I'm somewhere in there.
Shit! It's no biggie, Dave. The mask always slips a little. That's pretty much inevitable. But looking back on all the crap you've said about political positions, other people's and your own, what do you have to say about it in retrospect?
Well, it's all bullshit. It's all epic, endless horseshit.
All right, Dave. Well, what would you like to talk about next?
You're not going to believe this, but we have to talk about the regressive left today.
Oh, I believe it. What do you got to say about them?
These people are the racists. They're the modern racists. And they're always screaming that we're all the racists. And I don't want to become them. So I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, these lefties are all the racists, blah, blah, blah. But the racist ideas of the day are not coming from conservatives and libertarians. They're really not, and they're certainly not coming from classical liberals.
Well, Dave, if there's one thing I've learned about you, it's that you definitely understand where things are coming from these days.
But the alt-right as a shit-posting, fun, call out the bullshit, mock the power thing is amazing, actually. There's nothing funny coming out on the left. You know where the funny stuff's coming? It's coming out of the alt-right. That doesn't mean I'm a Nazi.
Well, I'm pretty sure Ben Shapiro must have been relieved to hear that last part. Anyhow, moving right along, I think next we're gonna...
Diarrhea.
Diarrhea? Ben, you gotta use the little boy's room? You got a poo-poo?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll take you right after the show. For now, just drink your apple juice. It's good for the tummy. There, good boy. You're not gonna have any accidents, are you? Aw, good. No poopies is good. Ben, you want to read a question from our freaking Patreon?
Okay, so here's a super chat question for you. Will you bake Rubin a wedding cake? The answer is no.
Hell yeah! No gay cake for you! Shadamite!
And the reason I won't is because as a religious Jew, I do not participate in activities that I believe are sinful. But again, we live in a free country, and Dave knows this.
Yeah, and I know about it too. Ben and I are not about to bake some hellbound fudge-packing Shadamite pervert like Rubin a gay cake. Just like I'm not going to bake Ben Shapiro a bar mitzvah cake. Even though I'm sure that time is fast approaching.
He doesn't have to care what I think about sin. And as long as I'm not bothering Dave, I don't see why it's a problem.
Yeah.
Totally. Who cares that we think you're going to be tortured under Lake of Fire for eternity for a characteristic you couldn't control if you tried? And who cares if I think Orthodox Eddie Munster over here is going to burn in hell for his religion? I don't see how that could possibly be a source of awkwardness between us.
And are we friends? Yeah. And are we going to go out to dinner sometime in the near future?
Probably not. They don't make kosher fancy feast, and no offense, but I'm just not that crazy about Jews.
But there's a difference between me just being friends with Dave and me actively participating in an event that I feel is religiously sinful.
Totally. And let's face it, if you baked him that gay cake, he and his partner would probably just sodomize it.
But what you said that to me, and I truly mean this, like, if you think what I'm doing is sinful, like, I don't, it sounds glib, but I don't care.
Nah, it's cool, man. We're all raising our profiles. We're all making money off each other. You know how the song goes. Cash moves everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar billion.
If we were having an anniversary party, would you come? If I was inviting all the crew that we all know, and we were just an anniversary party, we're just having a party.
You know, honestly, I'd have to think about it. I
think I'd probably go. I love free food. I just make sure to wear my homo repellent first and possibly leave a burnt offering on your doorstep to make sure the Lord and I are cool. But what about you, Ben?
I'd have to think about it in the same way.
So that's interesting to me, because that's a different thing.
Well, not really, because again, from the religious perspective, the question is, are you glorifying something that you think is sinful?
Yeah.
He's right, Dave. And also, from a biblical perspective, I technically have to stone you. No offense, Dave, just staying true to my deeply held religious convictions.
Would you bake me a regular cake? Could I just have a Thursday
Yeah,
cake?
sure, I'd give you a cake. I mean, it's not going to be good, but it'll be there.
And you're going to eat your gross Jewish gefilte fish tasting garden gnome gay cake, and you're going to like it! Isn't it great we could get together for civil discourse like this?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the ones where it's like, this is exactly why I do this show.
Do you feel that I'm feeling, do you feel that I'm being free and I'm thinking free?
For all I know, we'll have Kanye in that guest seat soon enough. Whether he is just rocket fuel to boost ideas, or is he the rocket ship that will get us to the solutions, remains to be seen.
Oh, but the 13th Amendment was passed by Lincoln.
Neither of us are scholars. Lincoln's, I mean, well, yeah, that's
to make sure that slavery couldn't.
So Lincoln, that is
legally.
like conspiracy. Some people think that he might have been black.
So
You've heard that, right? So I can't say that Lincoln was black or white.
Well, I will say this though. I mean, you said you're a centrist, kind of more center left still. You think the liberal Democrat Party has left you, but I mean, you do have to admit, Ayn Rand conference, you're kind of going the other direction on that one. That's a curveball.
I'll be the first to hold Trump's feet to the fire once he's in office.
People are like, no, you have to attack Trump. And it's like, wait a minute, we finally got a little win here in the war. And it's like, you don't just get a little pinprick and then run away and do something else. You got to keep going.
This episode has been a huge win for the new center in the battle for marketplace of ideas and stuff.